Good afternoon, everyone. Before I get into the review of this figure, I just wanted to say something about what an eventful morning I had today. I did not expect to start on Monday with a 4.7 earthquake rolling by. As someone who's lived in California for most of my life, earthquakes are still one of those things that I don't think anyone can ever get used to. I mean, it happens from time to time, but when it does, it's quite scary. It's just, especially today, I was, of course, of all places that I would be in the bathroom when this happens. And this is one of those cases where, why am I always in the, the worst place to be in when something like this happens? I'm not near the exit, I'm not near any front door, and of course, but I did run downstairs and it was still somewhat shaking, but it did stop, and it wasn't around too long. It was only around for maybe I think a minute or two, but still, those short time that you feel an earthquake shaking that intensely, it still sets this panic in that you just can't. You'll always feel. That's how I'll word it. But that is what happened this morning. And I hope that nobody got injured or hurt in with this 4.7, because things can happen. Anything can happen, even if with a 4.7 magnitude. So that is the morning that I had, and so far, as of now, of recording this, it's been very chill. Nothing else has happened. So with that, I will get into the review. As for reviews, I plan to start adding this segment in. I think how I'm going to start doing my reviews now is you have a context segment. And the context segment is mainly explaining, kind of giving a little bit of a breakdown to, not a breakdown, more like just I am just okay, giving context to where this character came from via the source material that they're based off of. So I don't know if I'll be doing this for every figure that I'm looking back at, but I'll definitely be doing it for some of them that I don't know where they came from, and I'll definitely do some research on them and kind of explain it in a very simplistic way. If you really need the full context of where they come from and the story that they're related to, there are plenty of amazing breakdown videos of the comics on YouTube that you can just search up, and there are people who can explain this better than I can, and because I've never read the stories, so I don't know the full context of it completely. Especially for today's video, I actually looked up a breakdown video on where this figure came from. And from what I can understand, this story is it sounded like a mess. It sounded like a headache to me. That's all I can understand of it. It just sounds like pure issues I have with, I guess, certain ways of how you would write a story involving trying to make a big event, but it falls really hard. And I think that's what this is, from what I can understand from the breakdown. It just sounds like a disaster. This story was not a good one, but if you want to read it, you can read it. So with further ado, this is the Joker bot. That is the name of this figure, from the Future's End story. This was a figure that was released as a Build-A-Figure from the Batman Beyond Futures and build wave that was exclusive to Target. Now, I did not get this build wave at the time that this was out, and I looked back at some older videos. This released back in 2021, and I had to comb through some of my older photos that I uploaded to see what I was doing back in 2021, where I post and share a lot of my stuff. And yeah, I wasn't really collecting the whole lot. I mean, I had DC figures, but I guess this was just never on my radar because I did not know this figure existed, or any of the figures in this line or in this wave were out at Targets. Like, I guess I just never really noticed it at all. I don't know. I don't remember where my mindset was at the time, but how I got this figure, or the entire wave, after the exclusivity, this figure was repackaged in a 5-pack, which a special 5-pack box, like a deluxe edition. So you get all the figures from the wave, you get all their cards, their accessories, and then you get the Build-A-Figure, and it's already pre-built. Now, I did not buy that particular bundle because that bundle, I believe at the time, was also exclusive to Target. It came out like months and months later, I believe, or a year later, after this wave was originally circulating at Target. That's a year-long build wave. So this is the first build figure that was introduced as this year-long concept. You would get the first piece, and then the second and third and fourth through monthly periods. So it wasn't like a regular build wave where they released the whole thing at once. This year, however, there wasn't a yearly build wave. I thought that the Plastic Man would probably have been a yearly build wave, but I guess they probably are stopping with that because the last 2 year-long build waves were some of the ones that were pretty cool, and I think people really just wanted to complete it right away. So I think they realized that people don't like this idea or this concept, so that's probably why this year there isn't a year-long build wave at all. And it also can explain, which I will probably explain more on that in another video, because there was a build wave that came out this year that was a little bit problematic with the way it was priced, and that might have been the year-long build wave that was supposed to happen but didn't. So it was moved to become a Mcfarlane Toy Store exclusive, so I will have a video on that in the future. As for this particular figure, this was acquired through a bundle. So Mcfarlane resold this build wave as a 4-pack bundle. So if you didn't want to buy if you weren't able to buy the box set, that nice box set deluxe version, you basically just bought the bundle on their site, all 4 figures in the same package that you would have found them in a Target, and just get it like that, all 4 together. So I jumped on that because I did not have this build wave, and I did grow up watching the Batman Beyond cartoons, so I really wanted some Batman Beyond figures or characters related to that show. But this build figure was the one that I knew nothing about. So this is where I can kind of explain a little bit of context to the source material. So this Joker bot is from the Futures End story. And basically how this guy is created is that Frankenstein in the future took an injured Batman and Joker. I don't I had to read that from the wiki, and basically surgically merged them together into one being under the order of Brother I. So if you noticed, I'm gonna in his chest right now, there is this I logo on the Bat's insignia. That is Brother I. And my only knowledge or only time I've ever heard of Brother Eye was through the Injustice 2 video game. And it is the AI computer thing that Batman has in that game. So outside of that, I didn't know they used him in other stuff. Or maybe they used him in this verse. I don't actually know when Future's End came out. Like, was it before Injustice 2 or after? I didn't even look that up, but so he's not the only one. Brother Eye took other members. Basically, he created a robot army of all your favorite characters. Like, there was a spider robot Wonder Woman, there was a robot cyborg Superman. It's just a bunch of robots that are of the DC characters, and kind of like enslaving the world or something in that future. And that's kind of where this guy comes from. This is, and the way, so the backstory to him is that he is designed to be sent back in time to go after the Terry McGinnis of the future that went back in time to try to stop Brother Eye. There's like this whole story, and it's kind of like, so he's kind of like the Terminator. It's like that plot, like the Terminator being sent back in time and going after. I don't even remember anything from that. So same plot almost, but DC style, I guess. So, and the reason why this figure stands out is because by merging the two people, basically having Brother Eye and then having the Joker and Batman, what makes this figure very creepy is the fact that when they say it's a merge, it is a merge because the head is two heads. And in context to a figure, that's kind of cool. And this is where we get into aesthetics now. I don't know if that context section made any sense to anybody if they see this, but I recommend you, if you really need the better context of where this thing came from, there are other videos on YouTube that will break this down more, because I've never read this comic. I don't know anything about this Joker bot, but so I hope I did an okay job giving you a little bit of the context of what this character is. As for aesthetics, as you saw, he has two heads. That is really cool. Like the idea that they sculpted like a front and back head so you can swap between, like having it be Joker or having it be, I guess, Batman. Which I kind of like that. I've never seen an action figure have that. It's kind of rare. So, and then if you look at the back of him, there is his wings, robotic wings, and there is all this detail on the back. And I don't think my camera is picking these up because I'm still using a phone camera, unfortunately. That doesn't really show the best quality when it comes to the details. But there's a lot of details on this that are sadly unpainted. They are just the same color throughout. And his wings can move, which I will show in the articulation section, but you know, you only have like this area that's somewhat painted, and then the gun arm with all these details. It's painted okay in hand from what I'm seeing. I don't know if it shows that good on the camera, but I will say this could use a touch-up with the metallic markers. There are a lot of places on this figure that could be painted with metallic markers to make it kind of stand out more than just this base color. Even if the source material is kind of like this, I mean, it's an action figure. If you want it to stand out more, you do what you want to do. So, and then another thing, his legs, you can see there's kind of like these tubings or wires that These are the places I'm talking about that could benefit from metallic paint. And his knee armor pad thing can also do that too. One thing that's kind of funny, so these knee pads, they kind of look like a certain character. They look like his face, if you know who I'm talking about. I will make a video on him very soon, but if you know, you know. So there's that, the knees with that. So yeah, aesthetically, he has a lot of details on him, but they're just covered up by the same paint that you really don't get to see most of those details shine at all when they're buried by the same color. So there's only certain parts of him that are visible where you can tell, oh, they look nice. And then there are certain parts where they don't look nice at all. So, or could be better if, you know. Oh, and I forgot his hand on this side. He has the nice finger, sharp finger, and then he has the usual Batman gauntlet things. I don't really know what those are called. I still don't know what he calls them. And also the details of the wings I do want to talk about. The wings are just bare plastic color. And again, these are parts that can definitely be benefit from metallics because they're supposed to be metal, right? That's what they're supposed to be in the story. So they would definitely benefit from that. And if I do use the metallic markers, I don't know if I'll do it on camera. I don't know if I'll show myself, like, showing the process, because I don't have that set up right now. But I'll definitely do this off camera and maybe have an update video showing, like, oh, this is what it looks like now with what I did to it. I'm still not good with doing customs yet. I'm not used to all that. But the basic thing by using those markers I've done on one figure, and I think I could do the same on this to make it look nice to the extent that I think it looks nice. So there is that. Yeah, this is the aesthetic of what he looks like. I don't think it's bad. I think if as a design, it is a cool design. Even if you don't know anything about this figure, just having him on the shelf as like the shelf presence is still pretty cool. So yeah. Oh, and I do want to mention that there is a glow-in-the-dark version of this figure. Yes. So this is I believe the third time this figure has been released. But the glow-in-the-dark version has minor differences in paint. It's essentially the same figure mold. Everything's the same. It's just a glow-in-the-dark. I will not be picking that up and doing a comparison with that because I honestly don't need another glow-in-the-dark, and it's $29.99, and that's really expensive for something that doesn't come with anything except for just the wings and the stand and card of authenticity. There are certain glow-in-the-darks that I have that I got because they were on sale. Maybe if that figure goes down in price, I will maybe get it. I don't know. Right now, I really don't want to waste money on certain repaints because there is a figure that's going to go up on pre-order on, I believe, the 15th or the 16th of this month. That was revealed at STCC that I'd rather try to secure than a repaint of something that I already have. And I honestly like this regular one more than the repaint. From what I heard about that repaint, the texture feels different than this regular one. So yeah. Okay, now I want to get into articulation because this figure for a time being was pretty loose on the legs were pretty loose because because I don't think I put them in correctly. So I won't start with the legs. The upper thigh swivel are no longer present anymore on my figure because I didn't plug them in all the way. They were able to like rotate and stuff and actually like spin, or not spin, just rotate. But because I put them all the way in now, they can't rotate anymore. It's like really tight in there. So, but he can kick out, not too much because this piece is kind of stiff. It's hard. So you're not going to really be kicking anybody with this figure. As for his articulation, he does have the double jointed legs. So yeah, he can do that. So if you need him to do double jointed, it works, and it's still very tight. His feet can go up and down. I'm trying to, let's do this. And then he has toe articulation, so there's that. So it's the same thing on the other leg. And if you're wondering, yes, he can spread his legs out. So you can spread them out. Can he move his legs back? Kinda. Not completely, but it's there. As for his arms, I will, because his arms are different. This arm, the gun arm, only has a single joint. So it doesn't, there's no double joint. But it can rotate. So like every other single jointed figure, there's a rotation here. So that's kind of cool. He does have upper rotation right there where his shoulders are. I don't really know what to call that. He can kind of do the T-pose. I'm trying to... Yeah. There we go. I don't know if I'm showing that good, but... And then on this side, same thing. And then swivel right there. And then he does have double jointed, so they do work. Kinda. So it's just all about how you move that articulation on that arm. And then for his chest, he does his upper cut. It does tilt side to side. It does rotate when you need it to, so that works. Lower area, it does move out. It does not, it does rotate, but mine is somewhat kind of stiff, so yeah. And then of course, what I showed earlier, the head can look up, it can go side to side, it can rotate, so, and this works for both sides of his heads, I guess. So there's that. And then now, the fun part, his wings. His wings have articulation right here. They do rotate, these rotate. And the pegs inside do move, so if you try to like move it up, it moves. So I hope that you can see that. Then, when you look at this piece right here, this part, you can extend. And then you can lift that up or lift this up. So there are a lot of ways that you can articulate the wings on this figure. I like to keep it a certain way, but if you have your own preferences of how you want his wings to look, it's really all on how you display your figures. So, but that is the articulation of this guy. He is a tall figure. If I had to do a comparison, I will bring in one figure to compare so you can see how tall he is. This is his wave mate, Shriek. He came with, I believe, the I don't remember what he came with, but he is from this wave. So he is kind of tall. Taller than him by a little bit. He's not the tallest Build-A-Figure. I still think that... I think Bane is taller. Currently, Bane is not accessible for me right now, so I can't show that. In the future, there will be a video on ranking up my top favorite build figures that I have, and over time I might make another video just like talking about like all the big size characters in this line that I have, that I'll probably lay them all out on the table, so if this table is big enough for all those figures to stand on. But he's not the tallest Build-A-Figure, but he's still pretty tall, so that is cool. It's very nice to have someone at least be very tall in a wave. That's what kind of made me fall in love with a lot of the Build-A-Figure waves, was the taller characters, the big size characters you can get. And this guy being the first one. Well, he wasn't the first one. Merciless was the first one. I don't have the Merciless build wave. I missed out on that. And I will talk more about that when I review another figure in the future that I can mention about this story. So, but that was the articulation for JokerBot, and this is the comparison, so you can see regular scale figure next to him. So I think that will do it for this video. I hope you liked the presentation of this figure. I really wanted to look back at this because I've been fidgeting with this figure for the last 2 days, and he is just something that I never realized is a fun figure to play with. For a while, he was just sitting on top of a shelf with a lot of my build figures in the back corner, and I just never messed around with like his articulation after I built them because I didn't have time. I had school, I had other stuff going on, and I just never took the time. And the whole point of these reviews is not just looking back. Looking back is one thing, but it's also for me to just appreciate the figures in my collection, because one thing being a collector for this hobby is that every time you buy new figures, you're always so consumed by those new figures that you sometimes forget the brilliance of these other figures you bought before. You just kind of sometimes forget that they're there. You were excited for them that one moment, and then you just toss them aside. I think that's something that I'm starting to realize, that it's not always good. So now I'm taking the time to appreciate the things I have besides the new things, because if one thing I've learned, this cleanup session that I'm having right now, by just cleaning things up, has made me really appreciate all the figures I've had over the years. Like, I will be looking back at every single one of these figures to the best of my ability and just talking about them, and I hope you stay around for them. So this guy will make a return in the future in a different type of video, but that will be the end of this review, and I'll see you next time.